Hi, I'm Dr. Charlie Peterson. I'm the author of Dude, Where's My Profit? The Accounting Finally Makes Sense mini course. This video is a continuation of Accounting Cycle 1 and Accounting Cycle 2. This is where we take the numbers from the trial balance we've calculated and we convert them into the financial statements. The financial statements are the numbers organized into certain formats that business people can recognize and make financial decisions about their company with. There are three financial statements prepared: the income statement, the statement of changes, and the balance sheet. The income statement shows profitability over time. The statement of changes shows how capital stock and retained earnings have changed during the accounting period. And finally, the balance sheet shows what we use and who owns what we use. Let's get started with the income statement. Now you'll notice that I have two columns here. This column is to itemize, and this is where the totals go. So taking the numbers right off of the trial balance, adjusted trial balance, let's start out with service revenue. Service revenue is already a total, so let's enter it into the total column, 1340. Now let's itemize our our operating expenses. We got a total of 6 of them, I believe, and 6. And the first one we're going to transfer over is your depreciation expense of $500, utility expense of $40, wages expense of $180, ads expense of $40, supply expense of $130, and rent expense of $200. So now they're itemized. Now I'm going to add them up and put them over into the total column, and they add up to $1,090. Now the income statement is, you take the revenue minus, don't forget this is a minus, the operating expenses to give you your net income, and once you subtract those, you come down to $250 of net income. We're going to embellish the income statement with some currency markers. We'll put a $sign here, a $sign here, and a $sign here. From the income statement, we can see we have earned a profit of $250 during the month of April, month 30th. Now let's tackle the statement of changes. The statement of changes shows how the two capital stock accounts, the capital stockholders' equity capital accounts, capital stock and retained earnings, changed during the period. Start out with capital stock. Capital stock at the beginning of the period was $3,000, so let's enter it here. Now, if there have been any changes to capital stock, it then would be entered here and either added or subtracted and then transferred over to the total column. But because there was no activity affecting capital stock, we're just going to transfer the beginning balance over to the total column. Now retained earnings, let's start with retained earnings on April 1st. Retained earnings is $700. And to this we're going to add our net income. We've already calculated the net income here in our income statement, so let's transfer it down here, $250. So that gives us a subtotal of $950. Now we're going to subtract dividends from that. Remember, retained earnings, net income adds, the dividends subtract, so let's subtract out $30 worth of dividends. We'll put that in parentheses to show that it's been subtracted. So once we subtract the $30 from the $950, we come down with retained earnings on April 30th of $920. And let's add the two. Capital stock plus retained earnings added together then becomes $3,920. And this number right here will be transferred directly onto the balance sheet, which we'll be doing next. Let's put in our currency markers, beginning of each column, and last number in the right-hand column. Okay, now let's do our balance sheet. Again, we're going to be taking the numbers from the adjusted trial balance, right off our list here. So we got the balance sheet shows what we use in the business, which are our assets, and how the assets are divided between the liabilities and stockholders' equity. This is the owner's account. This is what the owner owes. So the combination of these two shows who owns the assets. Let's start out with current assets here. Accounts receivable, cash is 410. Let's get that in here. Accounts receivable is 480. And supplies come out to be $90. Now when we add the current assets together, we come up with total current assets of $980. All right, $980. Now let's do our long term. We have equipment here of $5,600. Now we're going to subtract the accumulated depreciation, which now is $1,500. And when we subtract that, we come up with a figure of $4,100. And this represents the total long-term assets. And so we're going to add current and long-term, and we come up with total assets of $5,080. Okay, let's add our currency markers again. First number in each column. I'm sorry, the last number in the right-hand column. Mistakes are okay. Now let's talk about liabilities here. Both of the liabilities happen to be current liabilities. So we have accounts payable of $160, and we have notes payable of $1,000. We add these together, so current liabilities then come out to be $1,160. Now we're ready to do our stockholders' equity. Our capital stock was, go right here to take it off with $3,000. Our retained earnings, our new retained earnings then is this is going to be taken right from our changes in stockholders' equity. Our retained earnings is $920. Therefore, the total stockholders' equity is $3920. Slight hesitation there. And we're going to add the $1160 and the $3920, and we come up with total stockholders' equity of $5,080. All right, now you'll notice that total assets equal total liabilities plus stockholders' equity. They have to be equal or your accounting has been done wrong. Let's embellish this with some dollar signs. Let's put a dollar sign here and here and here, and our balance sheet is now completed. Just one thing to note about the balance sheet was done as of April 30th, the very last moment of the accounting period. We prepare the final balance sheet. These balances then will be brought forward to become beginning balances for the balance sheet in May. So now we have our three financial statements: the income statement, the statement of changes, and the balance sheet. If you would like to visit some other videos, please check my website, www.dudeworthmyprofit.com, and thank you for viewing.